between us and that line. He can make all the noise he wanted to make, but the fact is, greater is he that's on this side of the fence than he that's on that. What I'm telling you is when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall raise up a standard against the enemy. Something is standing in between us. There's an anointing on us that the enemy is unable to do anything that God. We have a hedge about us. Y'all sleep this morning. All right, now listen to me. I'm gonna cut that half of it off. I'm gonna tell you. The evidence is a lie. The few years back, when I began to see God began to work miraculously, I learned something.
Yes, sir.
That you cannot pay attention to what happens in the external. You have to learn how to pay attention to what's happening in the spirit world.
Yes.
If you watch and you get your calculator out and you try to read and do the math on how God's going to work, the evidence will lie to you every time.
Sir.
They told me once there was a lady that we prayed her through back when I was pastoring my grandfather's church, and we prayed this lady through, and she got up off the floor and she told me, she said, there's a man in the hospital, and she said, I would like for you to go see him and pray for him. I went to see this man. His name was Sidney Opry. And when I went to pray for Sidney Opry, I went into the room, and when I put my hands on him, introduced myself, I laid my hands on Sidney's chest and began to pray. And as I prayed for Sidney, he made no movement. He never spoke. He never said a word. He never said or done anything. He just lays there still. So I walk out and I have to pray, and I come back the next time, and same situation. I put my hand down on his chest and I begin to pray. Sidney does not say one word to me. He never spoke. But I wasn't there for a reaction from him. I was there for a reaction from God.
Come on now.
Watch this. So when I go out of the room this time, Sidney's wife follows me out in the hallway, and she said, listen, she said, please don't ever stop coming by here. She said, because my husband loves it when you come by and pray. I said, oh really? I mean, he ain't said one word to me every time I come. She said, he's trying to be a tough guy. She said, but the minute that you walked out the door the first day, said the minute that the door shut, he looked at me and said, Mama, who is that man?
Come on.
She said, well, that's the preacher. Said, well, he said, my God. Said, when he laid his hand on me, it felt like electricity that was running all over my body. Sidney was in heart failure. His kidneys were failing. He was basically on his deathbed. And she said that he said, Mama, I hope that man will keep coming by. I think God's touching me and healing me when he lays his hand on me. Now watch this, because what's powerful about it is this, is that Sidney is not even showing me any response, but I'm not believing the evidence, because sometimes it's not what a person is saying on the outside, it's something going on the inside. On one particular day, I went back by the hospital after I had just been there the day before. I go back by the hospital, and when I go to the hospital this day, I'm driving by the hospital, and the Holy Ghost said, go pray for Sidney right now. I'm explaining to God that I was just at the hospital like a day before, and I said, God, I don't want to just wear my welcome out. And the Holy Ghost said, go to the hospital right now. I make a U-turn, I turn around, I go back to the hospital, and when I get to the hospital this time, I knock on the door. When I knock on the door, a voice says, come in. It's Sidney's wife. She's sitting on a couch on the phone. Whenever I come in, she says, oh, Brother Johnson, she said, you're here to pray for Sidney. She said, Sidney's not here right now. He's having dialysis done. I said, no, ma'am, Lois, I'm not here to pray for Sidney. I'm here to talk to you. She said to me, I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I got a word from you, from the Lord. She said, oh, okay. She took the phone and put it on her shoulder like this. I said, the Lord said, you're dealing with a situation that if you do not put it in his hands, it's going to blow up in your himself. She looked at me kind of perplexed and said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, yes, ma'am, you know what I'm talking about. I said, I seen in my spirit a lady, and I said, you and this lady are arguing about something, and I said, it's like you're pushing her out of this room. And I said, I don't know who this person is, but the Lord said, if you keep fighting with her, you're not just fighting her, you're fighting him. That lady took that phone and she said, listen, I'm going to have to call you back. She hung the phone up. She said, my stepdaughter is on her way down here from Tennessee. And she said that she is going to move my husband out of this hospital into another hospital. But I told her she ain't even coming in this room.
Come on, Brother John.
She said, that sounds like what you're telling me.
Yes.
You know, some people, it's like, my God, you need somebody to help you misunderstand it.
All right.
I mean, what else can God tell you? God, some people, they wouldn't believe it if Jesus come down here himself, looked at them in the eye and told them, you can hear it preached, you can hear it said, you can hear it prophesied, but if you decide you don't want to believe it, that's up to you. This lady said, God's trying to get my attention. She said, please pray with me. I started praying for Lois, and the Holy Ghost come down in the hospital room, sitting on the couch at the Brady Hospital in Alexandria. God filled Lois with the baptism of the Holy Ghost, sitting right there in the hospital room. You hear me? Because God started doing a work in that family. And on one particular day, I'm at the church and I get a phone call. And the phone call comes to the office, and the lady come out the office and she told me, she said, did you know a man named Sidney Opry? I said, yes, I do. She said his family's on the phone and they want you to come to the hospital right now. It's an emergency. So I grabbed a couple men from the church and we took off out the door. When I'm going right out the door, she tells me, she said they must be Catholic. I said, they are Catholic. She said they must be Catholic because they want you to come pray the last rites over them.
My God, Jesus.
She said, do you know how to pray the last rites? She laughed at me. She said, you know how to do that? I said, I don't have a clue how to pray the last rites.
Come on, yeah.
But I ain't praying the last rites. I'm praying the heathen rites. Let me help you understand something here. Is you got to meet people where they are. It doesn't matter if you Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, Presbyterian, Pentecostal, I don't care, you UPC, ALJC, all that. God don't save you by what's wrote on your church sign. He saves you by what's in your heart. Just because you UPC, UALJC, PAW, CIA, FBI, none of that matters. What matters is JSUS. And when you get to heaven, he's not going to ask you who ordained you, who gave you a license. He's not going to ask you what church are you from. He's going to say, are you born again of the water and of the Spirit? I was in a prayer meeting the other night. They called me to a certain place. I won't even tell you the state of where I was. They called me. A friend of mine, he said, I'm meeting with some businessmen. He said, this man is a multi-millionaire. He said, he has started a prayer meeting on, I believe, Monday nights. He said, in his office, he said, people are coming from many denominations. He said, would you come speak to us? When I pulled up to this place, I go into his business, and when I walk up in there, there are people standing all down the hall. There are people in every room. I fight my way through and get in the middle, and they're just praying and seeking God, and they're calling out to God. They're praying in the Holy Ghost, and the Lord began to move. The spirit of prophecy hit that place, and tongues, interpretation, and the Lord began to reveal to me sicknesses and diseases in there. I began to just minister the Holy Ghost for a little while. There was one Pentecostal lady in that whole prayer thing. Long hair, long sleeves, and a long face like this.
Come on.
Old, mad, dry, hateful, mean, scallywag, bad spirit. But somehow we think if we got standards on the outside, that means that everything's automatically all right on the inside. I'm not talking about that you shouldn't be modest. I'm not talking about that you need to run around and show off everything you got. What I'm saying got holiness on the inside, it don't matter what you got on the outside. Your clean face don't fool nobody. If you don't have a right spirit, you just dressed up on the outside, but you're full of dead men's bones on the inside. We can tell a lot about you, about how you worship, not how your hair's done, not where your sleeves come to. What do you do when the Holy Ghost moves? If you got your legs crossed and your arms crossed, you ain't fooling nobody. When I started to leave there, they told me, they said, these people are Catholic and they received the baptism of the Holy Ghost. These people are Methodist. These people are Presbyterian. They have received the baptism of the Holy Ghost, and obviously their church believes that speaking in tongues is demonic. They don't believe in the movement of the Holy Ghost. So what they have done, somehow God began to connect these people, and they found one another. And as they began to find one another, now they're having a prayer meeting with Catholics and Baptists and Methodists, and all these different denominations are coming together. And because their church don't preach it, they said, we got to find a place that can preach it. You know what the indictment was? Is we got one Pentecostal woman sitting over here who should be telling them, y'all come to our church, but looked to me like I wouldn't want to go to her church because she was the deadest thing in the whole room. I'm going to make a statement to you right now. Brother Perkins can fix all this if I'm wrong. But what I'm going to tell you is that the Pentecostals have run off enough people. What we need to do now is start trying to reach somebody. What you need to do is you need to let your pastor take care of the standard of the church. You just reap the harvest. I've had people come in to where I was ministering, and when I was pastor, I had people that never kept our church standard. I had people that come in, and there was women in the church that was mad because a woman come in wearing pants, and mad because a lady had on earrings, and mad. Here they are mad. I want to tell them, you ain't the pastor. You got to let the Holy Ghost do a work. And I had other people here that looked the part, but they never prayed. All they did is gossip and start trouble. They were apostolic on the outside, but they were nearly demonic on the inside. You know who, when it was time to pray, you know who was doing the praying? It was some of these ladies, and their mascara was running down there. Here they are with their hands up, and the Lord spoke to me one time, Brother Zeno, and I'm up on the platform praying. The Lord said, look at them people. I looked, and the Lord, he said, look. I said, I don't see it. He said, look again. I looked. This little lady sitting here, she got cut hair, she got breeches on. I mean, well, they think she's a devil, you know, and she's the one crying. She's speaking in tongues in the prayer meeting, and about 15 of these ladies that's so holy you can't touch them. They over here digging through their purse, looking at that stuff. You know what? If I gotta be in a fight, I want somebody on my side. She must be backslid. Let me tell you something. They not sliding out, they trying to slide in. They're not on their way out, they're on their way in. You can't claim fish before you get them in the boat. When we get to heaven, we're going to see the revival that we could have had, but we couldn't have, because old Sister Funny Dunny was judging people and criticizing people and running them off and telling them how wrong they were. and people know who you are because what you look like. Please, if that's you, don't tell them you go to this church. Please tell them you go to the Methodist church. Tell them you go somewhere. Don't tell them that because they're not going to come with that. Then you get to the checkout line and there's some old girl there. She got floodlight tattooed on her arm. She got pentagrams on her neck. She's painted up with 10,000 colors. Got her hair shaved on one side, growing on the other side. And she said, how are you doing today? Well, that just makes me think, what's wrong with us? I'm telling you something, folks. If you don't have love, you don't have nothing. You don't have something. You're a selling grass and a picking yourself. Sometimes the evidence is a lie. Because we look like God's people, but we don't act like God's people. This pastor told me a couple years ago I was preaching. I'm preaching at this UPC church in Texas, and he walks up to me, walked right up to me, handed me a card. He said, would you come preach in my church? I said, yes, sir. Give me your card. He informed me. He said, now, I'm non-denominational. I'm not Pentecostal. He said, will that affect you coming? I said, no, sir. I was thinking to myself, that's why I want to come.
That's why I need to come.
See, some of us are so afraid to get around people that don't believe like us. Because we're so weak, we're afraid they're going to influence us. But if you really got what you declare you got, they're going to want what you got. Because you can come from anything and be this. But you can't leave this and go sit over there and pray beans no more. You ain't going to be in this. You ain't going to get the holy fire of God baptized in the name of Jesus and the anointing of God and have this worship experience and then be able to go sit back in there and go, no. If you really got what we know we got, it doesn't matter. I can walk right up in their house. I can walk right up in their place and realize, my God, thank you. I am what I am and got what I got. What I'm trying to explain to you is God is working in all areas, in all churches. My grandpa told me like this. He said, them people don't have nothing you need. He said, but we got everything they want. He said, you love them and you be sweet to them. You pray for them when they come in. You let them come in. You be sweet to them. He said, and eventually you'll win them, but you ain't going to win them by telling them y'all wrong. You go into hell. You don't have what we have. Look at you. You sorry that. You ain't going to debate your way into winning a soul, but you can love them right up in here and show them, don't you want to be a part? I'm telling you the antidote for revival.
That's how it is.
And so back to what I'm telling you. I'm sorry. I'm telling 3 stories at once.
Go ahead, Brother Johnson.
I'm preaching like women drive.
That's all right.
I take off going over here, and then I gotta stop over here and shop. I'm shopping over here. And you ever drive with a woman or ride with a woman, you don't go from point A to point Z. You stop at all points in between. And that's how prophetic people preach. And whatever, when I'm preaching this, sometimes I need to turn down this street and fix this. And so I'm just preaching like a woman drive. She said, this man must be Catholic. She said, because, she said, they want you to pray the last rites. She said, you know how to do that? I said, don't know how to do that. I don't know what them last rites are. Some priest does. But I told her, I said, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to pray the prayer of faith. I got in the car. I took 2 men from the church with me, 2 deacons from the church. We went to Cabrini Hospital, pulled up in Cabrini Hospital parking lot, and I told the men, I said, listen, they want us to pray the last rites. I said, they're Catholic. I said, but I don't know what last rites, what that entails. I just know this much. The last rites means that they expected this man to die today. That's why I said, I've seen enough of movies to know that's what that means. And I said, they he going to die, and somehow we pray him to limbo. I said, I don't know, but I know this is this man's last shot. I said, so we got to put our A game on. We got to go up here believing God right now that God's going to do a miracle. Whenever I got out the car, me and these two men start walking across the parking lot. About halfway across the Cabrini parking lot, the Holy Ghost fell on me, and I went into a vision, and I saw my hands on that man's head, and I heard myself tell him, Sidney Opry, I now baptize you in the only name under heaven given among men whereby you must be saved, in the name of Jesus Christ for the remission of your sins. When that happened, the Holy Ghost fell on me. I began to weep. I went back and sat down in my car trying to get my composure. I slumped over my steering wheel just praying. And these two men, suddenly I heard somebody knocking on my window. It was those men. They said, what are you doing? I said, get back in the car. I said, I want to tell you something. When they got back in the car with me, I said, I just had a vision here. And this vision, I saw myself baptizing Sidney in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. And I said, the Lord is about to do a miracle for him. This man's not going to die until I baptize him in Jesus' name. I said, so regardless what they tell us when we get up there, I said, you put your faith with mine and trust with me and believe me that we do not believe any evidence other than what God just showed me.
No doubt.
And I asked them, I said, do you believe me? They said, yes, sir, we believe you. I said, if you don't believe me, you are welcome to stay in this car. I'll crank it. I'll leave the air conditioner on for you. But I don't need you coming up here full of doubt, fear, and unbelief, because you can't get into the resurrection realm. You can't get into the miracle realm surrounding yourself by people that tell you what God can't do and what ain't going to happen. You got to come out from among them and be separated and be around people that have a faith for their speech. A lot of what happens to people is they get a word and then you let your family kill it. You get a word and God starts blessing and saying he's going to do something, and you take that home and cast your pearls in front of swine, and they start running your church down and running your preacher down and running your faith down. It's better to keep your mouth shut and say, I'm not even going to tell you what God's doing, because it's over your head. You way down here, and what God's doing is way up here. Look at your neighbor and say, it would serve you well.
It would serve you very well.
Not to tell everything God's trying to do in your life. As Joseph, you go tell those dreams, your brothers will be jealous. They'll throw you in a pit. They'll try to kill. Some people will help God, help the devil bring it not to pass instead of helping God bring it to pass.
That's the truth. Help me to keep my mouth shut.
These men told me, they said, we trust you. They said, we've never known you we believe that if God showed you that, we know that's God. I said, well, man, we went upstairs to that hospital. We would believe in God. I said, man, we ready to attack hell with a water gun right now. You get a word from God, I mean, you ready to take the devil on full blown. I knocked on the door of that hospital, and the door pulls open, and we make our way in there. I look for Sidney. Sidney's not in the room. Lois is there. Guess who she's standing with? Her stepdaughter, who she had previously said was never going to come in that room. Now these two are hugged up together. They're crying. They're weeping together. Why? Because tragedy has a way of making people come together. Let me tell you, if you can't get along with people and you can't get along and make sure that you come in unity, God can give you enough trouble to put you in a foxhole with somebody, and you won't be looking and saying what you don't like. You realize it's you and me. We on Jesus' team. When the chips are down, it's going to be the people that you never thought would stand with you that's going to be your friend. And people that promise you, I'll be there. Peter said, oh, I'm ready to die with you right now, Lord. He's the first one.
That was the God.
You better be careful when a person says, oh, I'm here with you, I got your back with you. You better watch that. They got your back with a knife. There's a reason why they happen to tell you that. It's because they already having doubts. doubts about you.
There's a question in your head.
And you listen to me. Because Lois spoke up to me and she said, I said, where's Sydney? I said, I'm here to pray for Sydney. With a wailing voice, she said to me, with that stepdaughter hugging her, she said, we lost Sydney. She said, we've lost him, Brother Johnson. He's gone. I said, what do you mean, Lois? She said, Sydney's gone. I said, do what? That stepdaughter looked at me. She said, my daddy's dead.
God.
You talk about riveting. You talk about shaking.
Take the heart out.
I said, oh Lord. I said, that stepdaughter said, we come and called you. I come and called you a little while ago. She said, because they said we're going to get a priest, going to get somebody. She said, but we lost Dad just a little while ago. He's gone on to be with the Lord. I knew Sydney wasn't ready to go on and be with the Lord. The doctor walked in that room, or excuse me, the priest walked in that room while I was talking to her, and he told Lois, he said, we're going to be lighting candles, we're going to be doing a vigil for Sydney tonight, whatever this means. But I was thinking, I said, ain't no light, no candle, don't do nothing for here. We dealing with a man that's done passed on to the other side. Ain't no light, no candle gonna fix nothing now. You a day late and a dollar short. Hear me. Whenever that priest is in there talking, one of these men that I told that vision to, he poked me in the back. He said, hey, I thought you said you was... I said, listen to me. I said, this ain't the time to tell me how bad I missed it. He said, that's not what I'm saying. He said, I thought you said you was going to baptize. I said, you ever give somebody a look?
I need you to shut up.
I'm doing this. I'm trying to get out of here. He said, I said, just wait a minute. We'll talk about that later. He said, that's not what I mean. He said, what I mean is, if God told you that, that's God.
Yep.
This evidence is a lie.
That's a false lie.
I said, listen, we'll discuss this at another time. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to find a way to get out of this room, drop y'all off, and get out of here, because I feel, you ever wish you just hadn't opened up your mouth? I wish I would have said that. I said, this man been dead now for 45 minutes, and here I am talking about we're going to baptize him, we're going to baptize a dead man. And listen to me, because that priest started to turn to walk out, and when he started to walk out, something hit me. They said, do we have more than this or not? We preached this and said, one of those men poked me in the back. He said, hey, he said, if God showed you that, then you still need to pray. You need to pray. I said, all right, Lois. I said, I'm going to pray. My carnal man want to pray like this. Lord, comfort this people. Help this lady. Lord God, help us with the funeral. Help us make arrangements. Put your loving arms around them and let there be peace and serenity. Walk them up. But that's not what I said. I said, Lord, you showed me something downstairs today, and I don't know what it all means. I only know this. You give Lazarus a second chance. And I'm asking you, Jesus, to walk down that corner where Sydney's laying down there and give Sydney one more chance. Give him one more opportunity to serve you, to live for you. Would you awaken him and give him one more chance? I wish I could say that he jumped up and we all lived happily ever after. But that's not what happened. I left out of the hospital. I dropped these men off. When I dropped these men off, me and my wife went out to eat. When we went out to eat, my wife said, what's the matter? I said, we lost a man today, and God was trying to show me something about him. And somehow the man died, and I thought I was going to baptize him. And it was been sick in your soul, just grieved. When me and my wife come home that night, that evening, we get home, and when we get home, my wife goes to the back. We had an answer machine in our back bedroom. She hits an answer machine. I'm standing in my living room thinking about Sydney, and on the answer machine is a voice. It's Lois Opry, Sydney's wife. She screams with a blood-curdling scream. She says, Brother Johnson, when you get this message, please call me ASAP. She said, I need you back down here at the hospital as quick as you can get here. She said, after you left, she said the doctor came back in the room and said, we need to talk to you, Lois. We need to tell you something. She said, what have you got to tell me now? You done told me I lost my husband. even explain it. But we got a heartbeat on the monitor down here. Your husband is breathing again on his own. We don't even know how to tell you. But she said, my husband's alive. They said, yeah, basically, technically, we need to tell you. We don't even know what happened. He's been dead 45 minutes. But can I tell you what happened? The spirit that raised up Christ. He took that man and awakened that man and woke him up. The doctor said, listen, he said, we're going to monitor him through the night and we'll just see what happens by in the morning. The next morning was Sunday morning. We started church. When we started church, Sydney's nephew, Michael, walked into the back and he said, can I testify? I gave him the microphone. He said, my uncle died and flatline died last night in Cabrini Hospital. He said, but people from this church started praying. He said, I just left the hospital and my uncle is sitting up in the bed eating vanilla ice cream. He wants to know when they're going to let him go home because he said, I got to get to that church. I got to get to that Pentecostal church. I got to get down there to that place.
I got to get back.
Cindy walked into church on Mother's Day, as I remember. He walked into the church on Mother's Day. He walked right down, dropped a cane, dropped some stuff off, walked right down the front, kneeled down right here. And before I could get my hands on him, God was filling Cindy with the baptism of the Holy Ghost. What are you saying? I'm saying the evidence is a lie. The devil is trying to tell somebody your miracle's dead. Your promise is dead. But I come to tell you what he told Jairus' daughter. This woman's not dead. She's just asleep. We're about to wake her up. God's about to wake up. This church ain't dead. There'll be some sleepers, but God's about to wake up the sleepers. I wish you'd shake yourself right now. I'm about to be awakened. I'm about to be alive. I'm not dead. I'm rocking and dead, baby. I am alive. Sidney told me, he said he had whatever you call it, wires sticking out of his chest, had pacemakers and all this stuff, had wires. He said, I need to be baptized. I said, but my wife said I can't be baptized. I can't get all this wet. He said, just do me a favor. Come to my house 10 o'clock one night. He said, do me a favor. He said, would you just get a cup of water and just pour it on my head and say in the name of Jesus? I said, it better make you feel better. Sidney, I'll do whatever. I went and got a cup of water. We put towels over his patch. We got a cup of water. I got a coffee cup. I poured it over Sidney's head. I said, Sidney, I baptize you in the name of Jesus. Poured it over. He's Cajun like y'all are down here. He said, as soon as I did it, he said, that ain't it. He said, that ain't it. He said, that ain't it. He said, that's just like sprinkling. He said, that didn't do it. He said, you said we got to be buried with him. And he said, I've been hearing what you've been preaching. He said, you can't bury somebody in ankle deep water.
Right. No.
He said, you're going to have to take me on down in there and baptize me. His wife said, you can't do that, Sidney, you'll die. He said, hey, Shan. He said, I done died one time. He said, I ain't afraid to die again. He said, so they taped Sidney up, they put tape all over his chest, and they led him to the water, and when they put Sidney in the water, I put my hands on him. And when I put my hands on Sidney, suddenly my mind went back to the vision at the Freddie parking lot. I said, Sidney, I'll pray. I said, this seems familiar. I said, I now baptize you. I said, I've said this before. In the only name under heaven given among men. I said, oh yeah, this is the day you died. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ for the remission of your sins. I baptized Sidney Opry. God had filled him with the Holy Ghost. And he told everybody, I was dead, but now I'm alive. What are you saying? I'm saying your miracle is not dead. You need to stand up and say the evidence is alive. This thing is alive. This thing is going to come alive. field shall yield no meat, and the flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there be no herd in the stall. Habakkuk said, yet will I rejoice, because the evidence is a lie. Stand up with me and look at me. I prayed a young man through to the baptism of the Holy Ghost and cast the spirit of homosexuality out of Brian Jones a couple years ago. Homosexuality is a spirit. It's not a condition you're born with. Well, you may have been born with it, but it's a spirit that got in your mother's womb if it was. It's a generational curse. It's a perverted spirit, and you can't go to psychotherapy. You don't counsel it out. You cast it out. I cast the spirit of homosexuality out of Brian Jones, and when I cast the spirit out of him in the Church of Christ of all places, God filled Brian Jones with the Holy Ghost. I got Brian to a place in an apostolic church and got him baptized in Jesus' name. And Brian wrote in the Gina Times newspaper, he wrote a full-page article about his deliverance, and this is what he said: I thought my whole life that I was gay, that I was homosexual. He said, until I met Jesus in that church that night, he said, and I realized the devil had manipulated me and made me think that this is the way I was, and this is the way I was going to be. Listen to me one more time. The devil is a magician. He's an illusionist. His trick is to use false wonders and lying miracles and to convince you that you're the way you are and you cannot change. But that's a spirit. That's a facade. But there's a God tonight that said, I disarm the devil. The only thing he can do to you is what you're allowing him to do to yourself. But tonight, this day is a day of deliverance. Put your hands up and say, Lord, I want you to know tonight, I believe your report. Who will believe the report of the Lord? Open your mouth and let's call on the Lord right now. Every spirit of the adversary, the bondage, the spirit of bondage again unto fear will let you go.
Yes. It has to. It has
You look at me very closely. This is just what I'm going to do right now. If you're in this place and you're bound up with something, it doesn't even matter what the thing is. Some of you are here, and I already know what the Lord just quickened me about. He said that there's people here this morning that they come here that the Lord has dealt with you about you letting me pray for you. And not as it usually is, where I'm coming to get you and call you out, bring you up here. You know in your heart of hearts what you need to do this morning is walk up here and let us lay hands on you and pray over you. And whenever we start praying, we will pray that spirit off of you. This is very serious business.
extremely serious.
Sidney told me in his house, he lived 10 more years. He brought me to his house. He said, the day that I died, he said, I went into a black room, dark. He said seemed like there were maybe millions of people. He said they were hurting us. He said we would move. He said people kept pushing me. He said I could tell that it was like people were falling off into the abyss over here. He said it was just dark. You couldn't see anything. Screams of people in this place. He said I knew that I was fixing to fall off into this thing. He said I was calling out, please Lord help me. He said there was no light. He said but on the far side of that room, he said there was one light, and he said I can hear the voices of people praying for me. He said that was the church, and the Lord spoke to him out of that light and said, Sidney, it's not your time. I'm going to give you one more chance. He said I was sucked out of that room into that light and was laying back on the operating table in Cabrini.
Instantly.
What I'm telling you right now is this. Where you're headed for is a place that's inescapable. Your bondage and your stronghold is ready to pull you to a place that you only think you got problems now. But there's a God in here this morning who sits high and looks low, who is saying that you let the prayer of faith come over your life. It'll pull you out of that dark place. I want you to put your hands upon yourself, and we're going to pray right now. All over this place, praying and talking to the Lord and saying, Lord Jesus, we call upon your name right now. I'm talking about nicotine. I'm talking about drugs. I'm talking about alcohol. I'm talking about perversion. I'm talking about every spirit that is a vice that we're trying to get a hold of your life. What I want this church to do right now is every one of you to begin to lift your voice up to the Lord. Let your voice go up to the Lord right now. Let your voice go up heavenward right now. God wants to hear our voice right now. God wants to hear us speak to Him right now. Because if he would have only knew what putting Jesus in that grave meant, he wouldn't have done it. You left him alone? He's a dummy. You're not afraid to say that? No, I'm not. Brother Billy Cole used to say, he'd get in the pulpit, he'd say, the devil is scared to death of me. Praise God. You know why he's scared to death of you? It's because you have the presence of the Holy Ghost inside of you. Hallelujah, Jesus. And if the church ever wakes up, I'm not just talking about our local assembly, I'm talking about the church worldwide. If it ever wakes up and realizes the power and the authority that we have in the name of Jesus, I want you to know the Bible says in the book of James that the devil believes there's one God and he trembles. He's scared to death of God because he knows what God is able to do. And he's so afraid that you're going to wake up and realize who you are. You are a blood-bought, Jesus-named, Holy Ghost-filled child of God. And he said, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Come on, church, let's wake up. Praise God. It's time to give a battle cry. It's time to give a battle cry. Praise God. Devil, you're a liar and the truth's not in you. We bind you. We bind you. We bind you in the name of Jesus. And the Lord said, whatever we bind on earth is bound in heaven. We loose the church this morning because he said, whatever you loose on earth is loosed in heaven. God is in the house. I walked in here about 6 o'clock this morning. Praise God. You could just feel the Shekinah of God. Hallelujah. I don't ever want that to leave. These carpeted floors and padded pews and bricks and lights and air conditioner is not the church. It's only where the church meets. Praise God. The church is you and I. And we're full of the Holy Ghost. You have a prayer request, let's just lift our hands this morning. Let's take these to the Lord in prayer. Lord, we love you this morning. God, you have been here every night, mightily moving and anointing your servant. God, this morning we believe in you, God, for a mighty outpouring of the Holy Ghost. God, take away every fear, take away every anxiety, take away every spirit of pride. God, get it all out
How many enjoy what we felt so far? Praise God. You know, Brother Johnson is an awesome evangelist. But he can't make you get revival. You have to have that within yourself. That's between you and God. You have to revive yourself. All you can do is put us in the atmosphere. But we have to have revival. That's the only thing that's going to draw us closer to God. We got to revive ourselves so we can let God's Spirit come in. Praise God. Y'all worship with us. Well, let's have a revival. Let's have a revival. Let's start with me and you. Let's reach out to lost and hungry world and bring them in there to our door. Let's have a revival. Let's bring the Holy Ghost around and have a revival. I have no
hand. He has all power in his hand. He has provision for you. It's a matter of you accepting it by faith. It's something about your praise. It makes a declaration to the devil that I'm coming out of this. I'm on my way out of this. Oh man. We want to thank God right now for everything he's done since Friday. People filled with the baptism of the Holy Ghost. People baptized in the name of Jesus. I've heard people telling me last night that they were scheduling to be baptized tonight. There are people already ready to be in the water even tonight. Y'all gonna have a baptismal service tonight. No, you didn't hear me. I said tonight people are going to be baptized in the name of the Lord. Set free, delivered, healed. We want to thank God for everything that he's done. And we thank God for what he's going to do. Don't believe the lie that the church is going to barely leap out of here limping. We're not going to go out limping. We're going to go out leaping. The church is going out with revival. You can be seated for a moment. I'm just going to speak to you for a moment. I want to give honor to Pastor Perkins and Sister Perkins. Don't you love them? As fine of people as you can ever meet, and I appreciate them so much, and I'll just say it to you like this. I'm available to Pastor Perkins in this church. All he's got to do is call me and let me know. I love coming here. I love ministry here. Every time I come here, there's a great spirit of hospitality and worship, and God is doing such a mighty thing in this church, in this area. So mighty. And I'm actually going to preach this morning to you, and I'm going to get in my car and drive probably about 4 hours or so to the north side of Houston and preach again tonight, and then I'm going to preach tomorrow night and the next and next. What I'm saying is it's not time to be lackadaisical. We need to be busy about the Father's business like we've never been before. Be busy, be busy. I'm snatching souls. Tell your neighbor, we're snatching souls. Snatching them souls out of the hands of the devil. And I'm gonna read something to you. What all you have to really do is realize that you cannot lose. You can't lose. I know you're looking at it like, oh yeah, you can't. Well, you determine that. If you will put your faith in Jesus Christ, I promise you're not going to lose. And the enemy works through manipulation and fear. Is what he convinced. See, when you understand he's a liar, then you know anything he tells you is not the truth. If he says you're going to die, that means you're going to live. If he says you're sick, that means you're healed. Liars tell the opposite of the truth. If he says that you're broke, busted, disgusted, you're not going to make it, that means you're blessed, healed, saved, delivered. You got to know you're dealing with a liar. Anybody ever dealt with a liar before? Y'all got some of your families, don't you? Every time they tell that story about that fish, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The grave gets deeper, it just gets bigger and deeper and wider. And when they start talking, you just say, I can tell when they're lying, because every time their mouth's open, that's when I know they're lying. That's what you're dealing with, is the devil is a liar. I'm going to tell you something about it today. It's not what he can do to you. It's what he can convince you to do to yourself. The Apostle Paul, I just pulled a scripture up a minute ago, and before I he said it like this. The Apostle Paul said that the Antichrist will come with all deceivableness and lying wonders. That means his miracles are not real. He's a magician. He's an illusionist. So I want to read to you out of the book of the prophet Isaiah chapter 14. The prophet Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14 and verse number 12. I love to read this because the devil hates this. He hates when you talk about him going down. But Isaiah 14 and 12. He asked a question. He said, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou said in thy heart, I will. Everyone say, I will. These are the 5 I wills of the devil. When he started talking about what he was going to do. Watch, he said, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, and I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Look at your neighbor and say, no, he's not. Yeah, watch what he said. He's talking about going up, but watch this. He said, but thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Tell your neighbor, say, when the devil tells you where you come from,
The devil's going to tell you where he's coming from.
tell him this is where he's going. You going straight to hell, but if you on your way, you got a one-way ticket. This is my message right here, verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly. When you narrowly look upon someone, you squint. Look at this. Look at my face. They squint. That means that they that look upon you shall narrowly look upon you, considering you and say, is this the man?
Is this it?
You're the devil?
That's it?
You're what I was afraid of? Wait a minute. I thought you was the big bad wolf. This is it? This is what I've been fighting with. This is what taught me how to live for God. This is what made me sick. I believe this little thing. Is this man the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake the nations? I'm just going to tell you what the Bible said in Colossians 2 and 15 about Jesus. It said he spoiled principalities and powers. Let me talk to you just a little bit and tell you that the evidence is a lie. Tell your neighbor, the evidence is a lie. The devil's a liar. The evidence is a lie. You can be seated. Just go ahead and sit down. Whenever he said that Jesus spoiled principalities, that word spoiled, it means to disarm something. What that literally means is, it means that you have removed a threat or you have stripped. It means that the Lord, when he rose again leading captivity captive, he made his way through the host of hell and he took all of their weapons. The devil has a gun, he just don't have bullets to go in the gun. I would tell you that in the Old Testament, probably every miracle that is done in the New Testament was already done in the Old Testament except for one. The dead were raised in the Old Testament. Blind eyes were opened up. All these things happened in the Old Testament. You can hear the leprosy being healed. Everything, God had power, but there was one thing that lacked in man. That when Jesus come along, he started casting out devils. You cannot see in the Old Testament one account where anybody was ever delivered from the devil. But when Jesus showed up, he changed the complexion of the landscape. He started doing things that had never been done before. And whenever he ascended on high, on his way to take his seat on the throne of God, he reaches up and he takes the weapons, he takes the ammunition from the weapons, he takes it, and now the devil is left to only convince you that he's got power, to convince you that he's got a weapon that can destroy you, but it's all a lie. The devil is the original fake news. He is the original. He is nothing more than the guy that goes into the convenience store and takes his finger or takes a banana and sticks it under his coat and sticks it up into the cashier's face and says, "Give me everything that you've got." And they empty out their pockets because they don't want to get shot, only to find that this guy trips on his way going out the door, and all of a sudden you realize he did not have a gun in there at all. It was nothing but a comb. It was nothing but a banana. Let me tell you, the devil has been sticking an unloaded gun in your face long enough. You need to explain to him, you don't have power over me. You lost your power 2,000 years ago. Jesus tripped. I refuse to be robbed by an unarmed. When you realize that you're dealing with a disarmed devil, you'll learn how to laugh in the face of the roaring lion. The devil's got a lot of bark, but he don't have as much bite. I'm going to say this to you again. It's not what he can do to you. It's what he can convince you to do to yourself. Because he has no power over you except for what you give him. And the more you fear him, if you walk in fear, then you walk in faith in reverse. And fear is having faith in the adversary, that he can kill you, that he can do what he said he can do. But the devil couldn't tell you the truth standing on a stack of Bibles with his right hand up in the Supreme Court. He's going to lie every time he opens his mouth. Back in the 1800s, there was a notorious stagecoach robber, and he was known, his very name would strike fear and terror in the hearts of men and women and children. His name was Black Bart, a.k.a. the Black Hooded Bandit. The Black Hooded Bandit, Black Bart, wore a black hat and a black bandana, and whenever he stepped on a stagecoach, everything that was in there started emptying out their valuables and their jewels to him, and he never was known to have fired one shot or hurt one person. But they feared Black Bart so much he robbed a record 28 stagecoaches in the late 1800s in Northern California. But here's what happened when they finally apprehended Black Bart. They found out that Black Bart had been robbing stagecoaches for years, 28 stagecoaches, with a gun that he didn't even have bullets in. As a matter of fact, when the authorities took his gun and tested it, it was an old double-barrel shotgun. They found out that that gun was so rusted and so decrepit until it wouldn't even shoot a bullet if you put a bullet in the thing. What I'm telling somebody tonight is that don't you know that when Black Bart was robbing these stagecoaches, that he was just hoping that somebody didn't try him, because he knew he was nothing but a liar and a fake and a phony. All it would have took is one little grandma to say, "No, show me what you got. You're going to have to blow my head off, because I'm not giving up what I got." What I'm telling you right now is you need to stand up to the enemy and tell him tonight, you're nothing but fake news. Behind the mask, he's 10 times more afraid of you than you should be of him. What did the Bible say? It said he believes in one God, Brother Perkins, and he fears and he's so afraid that you're going to stand up and say, "You robbed me your last time. You took my peace of mind your last time." Me and my wife, one day somebody told us that they had a line in our community, that there was a line in that place. And so we rode bikes down to see where this lion was supposedly in this cage. And there was, sure enough, this lady had a huge cage behind her house. And she came out, and me and my wife started walking in her yard, and we had So me and my wife make our way in this lady's backyard. There's like 2 or 3 little dogs from the community that were following us. And so as we make our way back, suddenly we come into view and we see that lady's got a full-grown mountain lion sitting in her backyard up in a cage. Whenever we started walking up, this big thing is sitting here with a big old head that's looking at us, and we get kind of close to it, and that thing let out a roar. It like it parted the waters. It said roar. That thing roared at us. When it roared, these little dogs that had followed us, they should have seen them tripping over themselves trying to run out of there. They were taking off. They actually looked like they hurt themselves, falling and flipping, trying to run from this line. You know what me and my wife did? We looked at each other and we laughed in the face of